Alright, I'm pretty psyched because my sister-in-law's husband, who has an excavator, is going to help me level out the ice rink and also dig a trench from the outlet on the back of the house over to the workshop. For the past few years, I've been running an extension cord out of that outlet and across the top of the ground over to power the workshop. That's pretty irritating in the winter because I need to run the snowmobile, or rather, sorry, the what am I trying to say? Snow blower. I need to run the snow blower back and forth across here. I have twice now got a power cord tangled up in the augers from the snow blower. I'm hoping to alleviate that by burying a cable and running the power out there. He's going to come over and do that today, so I've got a couple things to do. I need to mark out the area, and then I'm going to run a line of spray paint from the outlet over to the workshop so we know where to dig. About to get started on that.
I've been building an ice rink each winter since we moved to this property 4 years ago. Every year, I make slight improvements. This year's improvement is going to be pretty substantial. This ground, like our entire property, is far from level. In fact, there's about a 12-inch difference between the corner that's closest to the camera and the farthest. I'm hoping to change that with some help from my sister-in-law's husband, who is getting pretty good with his excavator. To start, I'm going to place grade stakes in the corner holes which are still there from the last winter. I did that on purpose this spring, hoping I would get to this project before snow flew again. Then, I need to clean up all this detritus that's been gathering as I've worked on finishing up our ATV shed.
So John's coming over maybe an hour and 15 minutes or so. So I need to jet quickly into town and grab the cable that I need to bury. He's going to dig that trench for me so I can power the workshop. And I was thinking about it, while we've got a hole in the ground, I'm probably going to bury a hose as well so that I don't have to go so far to smooth over the ice rink after we use it. What I'm doing now is going around the front of the house and hooking up the hose every time, and then I have to, and then, you know, doing all the work on the ice rink to smooth it out, and then I have to uncoil it, or rather unhook it from the house, drain it, and then bring it back in the house. It'd be pretty awesome if I could get a system where I didn't have to do all that. So I'm going to take a look at materials while I'm at the store and see if I can figure out a way to bury a hose so that it won't freeze. I think I could just put some insulation on top of it before we fill the hole back in, but at any rate, I'm headed into town now to do all that stuff. Hopefully, I'll get back in time before he gets there.
My sister-in-law and her husband met in Connecticut, where they both worked for the same company after college. As such, they have several friends who still live there. One of them, Ron, comes up to stay with the family for a week each fall to spend some time hunting. He was also willing to lend a hand on this project, which is good, because I have no idea how to use a transit, and I had a lot of other things to do, like getting the insulation ready.
Well, we had some pretty intense wind here last night, and we're without power. So I've been working on trying to get the generator started this morning. It's still pretty windy out, you can probably hear. Anyway, I've been underneath the deck where I've been keeping the generator, and it's all gunked up, so I've been cleaning the carburetor. I tried to clean it without taking it apart, and that didn't work, so I just took it apart, and while I was under here, I found out what the red squirrel has been doing that's been running every time I come out. Show you guys where he's been. he's been in the corn. So I think what's happening, he's not able to get in this, but I think you could see that one right there. I think what's happening is he's getting up underneath on the cart. You can see there's some kernels right there, down through there. I think he's getting up underneath and then reaching in through the mesh and just taking little pieces off the corn and then turning it a little bit at a time. So that's pretty clever, but it's also very annoying. And he's driving Ziggy nuts. Ziggy's up on the deck right now chasing around a squirrel that just ran off into the woods. So I think what I'm going to do is, while I'm waiting for the carb cleaner to evaporate off the carb, I'm going to collect all this in a bulb crate and put it in the basement.
If you want to get into it, you can spend some serious money building an ice rink. Mine definitely has not been free, but neither have I spent thousands of dollars. There's nothing particularly scientific about our rink. It's comprised of pressure-treated 2x10s, a combination of pressure-treated 2x4 support stakes and cedar poles, half-inch by 1-inch pine laths, and 1¼ Torx head screws. There's also the silage tarp. The first year, I squared the rectangle using the Pythagorean theorem. Since then, I can pretty much find the original rectangle each fall because the grass grows differently where the ice rink was set up. If it works this year, it will be the third in a row with a single piece of silage tarp. I will have to replace it eventually. However, the nice thing about silage tarp, aside from its thickness, durability, and the white color which reflects the sun's heat rather than absorbing it, is that when I no longer can get another year out of it as an ice rink liner, I can use it in the garden for weed suppression.
Well, I got the rink all framed up. Today's not a great day to be putting the plastic out, so I'm going to wait on that. Really too windy. I've got a little bit more work to do on the soil inside. Couple of roots sticking up and things I want to cut off so they don't puncture through the plastic. The last thing I need to do in terms of framing is put these braces in between the cedar posts that are holding up the rest of the frame. That'll keep those from bowing out. There's not a lot of tensile strength on a 16-foot 2x10. In the middle it'll just bow right out. So I put these braces in, and that's the last thing I have to do, and then I'll go check on the generator and see how it's coming. Well, I got the generator running. I'm pretty psyched about that. Well, now that I got the generator running, hey Ziggy, I've got the freezer hooked up in the fridge, and while that's cooling down, while both of those are cooling down, I figured I'd do some rewiring out in the shed. And then I realized there's no reason I need to do this outside, so I'm in here, the tea kettle's on the wood stove, and I'm gonna get warmed up. It's pretty cold, and see if I can't get these two outlets wired together and then go out and rewire them into the shed. Right, bud? All right, I know. Man, your breath stinks, man.